All right. Welcome everyone to the rep kickoff. You guys have been here all day, and so I'm glad that I can be one of the last people who gets a chance to hopefully have some influence on you and talk to you. And I hope the kickoff has been phenomenal so far, both days. Congratulations on making it to today. Congratulations on making it to the event. Congratulations on just being here. If you're here, that means you probably sold a decent amount of Cutco. So congratulations. Also, just straight up congratulations on choosing growth. You just sat on 2 days of Zoom calls, learning more about a job that you do on Zoom pretty much every day. And so that in itself is an accomplishment just for choosing growth and choosing to be here. And I am super excited to talk with you guys. And I'm super excited to be a part of this rep kickoff for you because it was only 2 years ago that this event is the reason that I'm here today. And so there might be a couple people in the crowd, maybe everyone, maybe, whatever, but there may be some people here who it has the same impact on. And yeah, I'm really excited to be a part of that for you. So go through college. And I think it's only fitting that I start the story at the beginning of when I graduated from high school. Graduated in 2018, Pierce, Minnesota. If you were to draw a rectangle around the state and put a dot in the middle, that's where I'm from, central Minnesota. Town of 1,000, graduated with 75, 80 kids. And I played baseball and football in high school. I include that because I'm a huge football fan. And so my whole life I grew up as a huge Vikings fan, as you can see. And so, sorry for like the Bears fans out there, whatever, Packer fans. I'm not even going to acknowledge you. I'm just kidding. But yeah, so huge Vikings fan. And so my whole life, my dream was to work for the Minnesota Vikings. I didn't know what, I didn't know, how, but I knew I wanted to work for the Vikings. Some kids dream of being electricians. Some kids dream of being nurses. Some kids dream of being psychologists. I wanted to work for the Vikings. That was my dream job. And 2 weeks into freshman year, well, I should say I went to school at Mankato because they had connections with the Vikings. That was the only reason I went to school there. And 2 weeks into freshman year, it worked out in my favor. I actually got a job with the Vikings. And so just like that, I achieved my dream job. And I found out pretty quick, it actually wasn't my dream. Like it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And so I'm really grateful that I got that job 2 weeks into freshman year. So I didn't go to 4 years of school for it, but I found out I didn't want to work in sports. I just wanted to watch them on TV. And so scratch the dream job. I kind of had to go back to the drawing board. I didn't know what I was going to go to school for, but I kept going to school because that's what you do, right? Take out a bunch of loans and you go to college and live it up. And so that's what I did. I went to my advisor. I'm like, hey, I want to switch majors. I don't want to work in sports. I want to go into business. And so they told me, they're like, all right, there's kind of like 4 cornerstones you can pick from. And I was like, marketing, that sounds, yeah, I'll do that. And so I switched my major to look in the top left corner. If you want to follow along, I switched to marketing. And with marketing, I started looking ahead a little bit and I found this internship I wanted to pursue with C.H. Robinson. And really, it was just, I thought I wanted to pursue it, but really freshman year at that point, I was just kind of living it up. I was hanging out, doing what freshmen, do. And I was spending all my money. And so this me and a couple buddies at a hockey game, and I basically ran out of money. And so winter break came, and I was like, well, I got to make some cash. And I found Vector Marketing, who sells Cutco. And so I thought, perfect, marketing makes sense. I'll do it. I'll try it. I knew what Cutco was, and I found myself in knife training. There I am. And maybe the case with some of you on here, you were strapped for cash coming into winter break. Voila, here you are. You probably sold a bunch of Cutco if you're on this call today. So congratulations, you found the job that pays your bills. Stick around, you can pay a lot more of them off. But yeah, I started and I had success right away, and I had fun. Look, I had a lot of fun with it. I ended up selling about $20,000 that first month in January, and I made $2,700 in my first 3 weeks on the job. That is significant because my last summer, the summer before this on the Zoom, I made $3,500 as an electrician. And so for me, it was like, wait a minute, $2,700 in 3 weeks, $3,500 in 3 months. All right, I'm going to ride this knife thing out. Like business, definitely going to be my path. I chose correctly. Business is it. And so as I'm at year-end banquet and the rep kickoff, which is what this is, it was in person at the time, which is the picture on the left, but I was shown this chart. And this chart showed demo rep in the middle, which is what I was, which is what you are if you're here. And it showed the endless possibilities within vector marketing. And I saw you can go the sales side, you can go the service rep, events team, closing gift consultant, business gifts. You can try your hand in management. You could go assistant manager to sales manager to branch manager to pilot, district, division manager. Then you can become the bald guy on stage, Mike Muriel, right? Who here's the next Mike Muriel? Someone in here? I don't know. But yeah, I just found out there's so much endless possibilities. And so from my first kickoff event and my first year in banquet, I thought, you know what, it would be really, really cool to be a branch manager someday. And so that's what I kind of set my sights on. Someday I'm going to be a branch manager. And so I went back to my advisor. I was like, hey, look, I'm getting all these marketing skills through this new job I got. I don't think I need marketing. Cross that off, right? I also was like, wait, I'm going to be a branch manager someday. And so cross that off, boom, 2 of the big 4 down in one winter break, kind of. And so I went back to school. I kept taking my marketing classes for a little bit, but then I ended up switching to accounting in the top left. So boom, just like that, 3 out of the 4, I'm basically graduated from business school, right? But I'm taking accounting classes at school. And in the meantime, I'm selling Cutco. And so I set my sights on an All-American scholarship, which I'll touch on in a second. But just like you guys, this is the situation you're about to go back into. And so, you showed up, you told Cutco, here we are. We're at selling, school, and, nothing else really on the right unless you've got, in my case, I had my sights set on this internship at C.H. Robinson. For you, it might be something else for the summer that you kind of have your eyes set on. But I found out through a team meeting with Cutco. So I kept coming to team meetings and I kept being a part of the culture, which I encourage you to do so as well. I heard about this medical device sales job through a team meetings. We had a guest speaker and I learned about med device sales. And it just piqued my interest so much. I was like, well, I'm good at the sales thing, like med device, it's got to be lucrative. So I fell in love with this med device idea. And I kept going to school, kept selling Cutco. By the end of the spring, I was officially an all-American knife salesman. All right. Some kids dream of being all-American athletes or, on the show All-American on Netflix or whatever. I was an all-American knife salesman. And Mom, I made it. I'm on the pamphlet. I'm number 12 in the nation. And I encourage everyone, this is as much of a, like, I'm laughing about it now. This is such an incredible accomplishment. I'm not saying that because I made it, but because it is truly an elite accomplishment to get on the top 25 students in the nation selling Cutco for the spring. You can all do it. It takes commitment and it takes trusting in your manager to get you there. And it takes just showing up. Showing up is half the battle. I always say there's 2 C's in success: consistency and community. If you show up to every team meeting, you're knocking both out the park and you're going to be successful. And so All-American Scholarship is something that anyone can shoot for. I want you to write this down. All-American Scholarship. The money is pennies on the dollar compared to the clout that you get for being All-American. I don't mean like clout, like your IG is about to blow up because you're an All-American. No, it doesn't work like that. But the clout you're going to have walking into an interview someday with a future employer to tell them that you are a top 25 college rep in the entire nation of 20,000 students doing the same thing. That shows so much about character, work ethic, determination. It's incredible. And I'd say about $25,000, you'll win yourself your very first All-American Scholarship. There are people on this Zoom call who will go and win an All-American Scholarship. If you look in the top right corner, if you can see that close, I was number 12. Connor Thomas, who some of you may know from Skyway, he was 13. Skylar Slade was 16, and Enrique was number 18. Those are all Central Region reps. We ended up little Mount Rushmore in the top right corner, but there will be Central Region people on here. Make that be you. Okay. So that's the All-American Scholarship. I worked towards that while I was doing that. I was going to school. And that summer I chose to be a rep. And I had in the back of my mind branch manager for the next summer. And so I was a rep because it was a different Cutco back then. You all have the opportunity to be assistant managers if you want to. So here's kind of what two different choices could look like for you. A summer as a rep is on the left and a summer as an AM is on the right. My summer, these are actual screenshots of Google calendars, okay? So I went back 2 years, June week 1 for me as a rep. And then I went back last year, June week 1 for Jared as an assistant manager in my office. For me, that week I had 14 demos and I had as much free time as I wanted. I probably sold a couple $1,000s that week. Jared, the same week, 1 year later, had 10 demos. He is assisted in recruiting. He also was coaching reps and he almost had as much free time as he wanted. The schedules aren't that different, but Jared got to do so many more things. I'm not saying that that one is better than the other, but being an assistant manager in the summer is such a unique opportunity, especially now when everything's on Zoom. So take advantage of that if you want to, but that's kind of what a schedule would look like as an assistant manager. It's a little bit of office stuff here and there. The skills are priceless. You get to learn if management might be something you're interested in. You get to teach reps everything you know. You're a stud if you're on here. Congrats, you sold a good amount of Cutco. You can teach new people how to sell. And so that's the perks of being an AM. And I didn't get to do that. I was a rep, which selling in the summer is great, but man, this new virtual vector, like take advantage of it if you can. Text your manager, say, hey, I'm kind of interested in AM. But what did I learn my summer as a rep was that hard work pays off. That's SC2 right there. I was a top 3 pusher in the region, and I worked really hard to get there that summer. You are the sum of the 5 people you surround yourself with. Who are you spending the most time with? Whether in person, whether on Zoom, who are you constantly around, hearing, talking to, interacting with? That's Jack Ryan, one of my best friends in the world, Dane Espegard, the greatest influence I'll ever have, through Cutco too. And then summer break, I learned is a chance to really separate yourself. While most students take it off and sit in the sun and sit by the pool, as a rep with Cutco, while all the other students are doing whatever, you get the chance to just be expediting your growth, 10xing everything you learn in school, and then some by selling. What else do you get though when you're a rep in the summer? Freedom. It's not working as an electrician for 40 hours a week. It's not working at Caribou for 50 hours a week. You get the freedom to really do what you want. And I got to travel. COVID might lift by this summer. If not, you guys can watch. You can do whatever you want really with the extra time. But like I said, time with those who mean the most to you. You're not working hour after hour after hour. You get a lot more freedom. And as a rep, I think that's the most unique part of working with Cutco is you kind of get to buy back your time if you so choose to, or you can use that to make a lot more money. And there's just so many routes you can go with being a rep in the summer. And for me, I got to do some really cool things that summer. Came back to school for accounting, but I wasn't really excited about accounting anymore because I was like, man, all these business skills I'm getting with Cutco, maybe I start drafting houses. And so I had this new dream. I was like, I'm going to go back to school, but to the tech school, I'm going to draft houses. That lasted about 2 weeks. So didn't do that. Started going to Leadership Academy. And at this point, I didn't really know if I was going to go back to school. I started questioning, I'm getting all these skills here. I'm selling a lot of Cutco. I'm having so much fun. It was kind of on the back of my mind. This was early August. And so I decided to start in Leadership Academy. TLA with Cutco it's great. It's the Leadership Academy. So you learn leadership skills, but there's so much more that you can gain from being a part of Leadership Academy while being a student. For me, it was leadership skills first and foremost, leadership skills that most students never get. And you get it through Cutco, which is phenomenal. It's so rare to learn these things, by the way. And you get to learn it each week from your division manager, from some of the most influential people that you'll ever be around at such a young age. Money management, another thing most students never learn. I feel like I know more about finances and building wealth than 90% of people from my hometown of peers. And that's not a jab at them. They just never had the opportunity that I had to be around amazing people that knew what they were doing with money. And so take advantage of your circle of influence around you. You can learn all this in TLA. Investments. I learned how to invest money. I bought a house at 20 years old. I learned about Bigger Pockets podcast in TLA, which eventually led to the house. and personal growth, just growing every single day. If you are growing every single day outside of the business, your sales are going to literally quadruple. The growth in TLA is amazing. So I was going through TLA, and at the time I only had one of those 4 business aspects that I hadn't crossed off yet. And so I decided, let's go get the 4th one. Went back to school for finance, and I was still a part of the Leadership Academy. So that fall, I was learning finance stuff. I was selling Cutco part-time around my classes. I was going through Leadership Academy. Then basically that whole year, that's what I did. I ended up selling another $8,000 in the fall, and then I sold another $20,000 over winter break. I won my 2nd All-American scholarship, spring of 2020. I moved down 1 spot from 12 to 13, unfortunately. And so I'm a 2-time All-American. Shout out Cutco. Never thought I'd be an All-American in anything, but yeah, so that was really cool. And in the meantime, I prepared for my branch office. The branch opportunity, I ran an office in St. Cloud, my home area, and this is the premier student opportunity, and Cutco offers it. It's unbelievable. Looking back on my branch summer, so many memories and just so many lessons that I learned. I'll talk a little bit more about this in a minute here, but I hear so many students, it's the buzzword. It's the buzzword of internship. Like, I'm going to get an internship. Internship, this is this is the internship. You get the opportunity to run a business on your own with the staff that you create. You get to recruit your sales reps. You get to teach them how to sell. You get to coach them. You get to change their lives, but you're basically doing a business startup, but the company pays you to do it. You have as much help as you want. Your hand is held by your division manager. You cannot fail financially, because if you completely flop as a branch manager and nothing goes your way, you still get the opportunity to sell at 50% commission. And so if everything goes wrong and the office fails, and worst case scenario, you did it from your basement on your computer, you didn't even have to rent an office, you never drove anywhere, the office didn't do well, but then you sold at 50%, you made your money back, and you made more than Alex Funk did as an electrician when he was 19 years old, making $3,500 in the summer, because you sold, let's say, 8K in the entire month of August. Basically, my point is, it's hard to fail as a branch manager. And even if you do completely fail, successful people are successful because they have failed more times than you have ever tried. And I really want you to remember that. To do something that other people haven't done, you have to be willing to work like other people haven't. And you have to be willing to try things that other people won't. And part of that, I think, as a branch, running a branch was a really big learning experience for me, that it's the premier opportunity for a student. And so I was able to do that through school. I ran my office. And what did I learn as a manager? The biggest thing was just Cutco's a family. That was my biggest takeaway with doing it, was you literally have on speed dial so many people who want to see you succeed. And if you're having a horrible day, literally one phone call away, that person has your back. Literally one text away, that person has your back. You have encouragement constantly on team meetings and division calls and region calls. People want you to be successful. People share all the time. When someone, I think of Sam Paulsner from North Shore, he's one of my best friends in the world. He's from Chicago. I'm from Minnesota. Like, we're the most unlikely friendship duo of all time. Sam, every time he learns something new that works, he literally will text me about it. He'll call me about it. It's like, that's so special to be a part of such a family. The second thing is, you have the opportunity to impact someone's life forever. Those are 3 of my really good friends before Cutco: Jared Erickson, Devin Pasick, Lucas Adi. And I was able to change their life forever. Lucas is opening a district. Jared has now sold $110,000 of Cutco. And he was in a deep place, like a dark place before this. He's now, in my opinion, a legend in the business. He's still selling. He sold 10K for this push. He'll be around a long time. And he's using this to make dreams come true. And that's because I gave him the opportunity as a branch manager. And that's really special. The ability to pass on the invaluable lessons that I've learned. Everything that you guys have learned, whether selling Cutco or growth or personal growth or whatever it is, you as a manager have the opportunity to pass that on, whether it's assistant manager in the summer or branch manager in the summer, whatever it is, you have the opportunity to pass that to the next person. And the fourth thing is just surrounding yourself with growth. Normal students, and I know this because I went to college, the conversations that happened in my college house with 5 guy roommates who were going to school for aviation and whatever they were going to school for, didn't seem like they were ever doing homework anyway, if you know what I mean. But those conversations were so different than the conversations I have with Cutco people. And I'm so thankful as a student, I was shown this path, which is growth. And my best friends probably in life right now, Jack Ryan, Elliot James, Sam Paulisner, John Paulson, Colleen Dolan, like these are people that are literally some of my best friends in the world. We have conversations all the time. The things we talk about, building wealth, buying houses, managing other reps, the things that my friends talked about last year at Mankato, other people, problems in the world, like partying, like the conversations are completely different. And so as a student, just being surrounded by growth is so special. And then what I really want to point out through all of this is that we're all college, most of us are students that are here. And so if you're looking at all these slides and you're like, okay, Alex, like, what's your point? Like, I get it. You're telling us your life story. Why am I doing that? It's because this is what my life has looked like for the past 2 years. There's a couple colleges in there. There's a bunch of major changes. And if you see my name on the reports and you see me talking and stuff, you probably like, this guy has it figured out. It hasn't been easy. It hasn't been just me crushing it. I have failed a lot of times. And so I've had to pick myself up. I've had to reach out for help. And I tried to switch schools. I switched my major a bunch. I've had 10 different dream jobs. And while all this stuff is going back on, I moved back home for COVID. And now I moved into a different house. And all this stuff has been going on around me. The one thing that has never changed is Vector is right there. And when you're a student, to have something that's so solid in your corner that you can always fall back on for income, you can always fall back on for growth, for environment, for community, for people that care about you, genuinely care about your success, to have that in your corner gives you such a solid foundation to build off of, not just for school, but for life. And that's what Vector has done for me. And so while the rest of the world is figuring it out, right? I think what's important to point out is I'm still figuring it out. You're still figuring it out. And really, I'm like any other college student that has no idea what's going on with their life. The world's crazy. I don't know what's next. You don't know what's next. And I think it's really important to point that we are like any student, except we work for Vector, and Vector will always be right here. And so while we figure it out, what we have the opportunity to do is work for Vector. And I think it's so powerful to recognize that Vector is not a job. Vector is an opportunity. Vector gives you the opportunity and gifts you the opportunity to figure your life out while you're selling knives, to figure your life out while you're growing exponentially as a human being, to figure everything else out in your life while you have that core group, that circle of influence that will lead you to the promised land, to the life of your dreams. And while you have that solid foundation of people around you choosing growth, and that's what being Vector trained means to me, is that we're not like other college students because we have this in our corner, and we're different because of Vector. And that's something I'm so proud of. Vector trained to me, it means a lot of different things. Cutco through college, it means so many different things, right? And back to Vector train, it's like, that's the beauty of Vector, is you could be here for the skills, you could be here for the growth, you could be here for the income, you could be here because you don't know what you're going to school for, you could be here because around your classes, you know, this is the perfect supplement to you being a teacher someday. Whatever it is, it's not a one size fits all. There's so much life you can suck out of this job and out of this company, and the skills you can take will literally take you anywhere in life. And so my question to you, if you don't know what you're doing this spring or next summer, my question to you, if you're thinking about moving on from Vector, and if you don't know where you're going to go yet, my question is, where will you go? Where could you go? What do they have that Vector doesn't? What do they offer that Vector doesn't? And if you're like, well, I'm not going anywhere. I'm just going to be done selling knives because, I tried it out and I did well. And well, then my question is, why not go to the next step? Like, why not try the next step? Why not go for the scholarship? Why not be in that top 1%? Right? What does that internship have this summer that we don't? If you want the HR skills, if you want to teach, if you want to coach, all of those things, if you want to manage other people, that's what Vector offers in the next step. And if you just want to sell, then keep selling because you're probably at what, 25, 30% commission, 35, maybe some people on here. It's like, that's a pretty paycheck. It's a lot more than I made as an electrician. And so that's what you have the opportunity to do as Vector trained. And also just with the Cutco through college, it's like, if you want to be a 5-star graduate and a 5-star recruit, take everything you can from this company and just load up your resume, load up your skills, load up on your talent that you can suck from this. I will say that people always ask me, they're like, Alex, how long are you going to be doing the knife job? How long are you going to be working there? And I tell them every time, it's like, I will work here until I don't grow one day on the job. If I work one day and I go to bed and I'm like, man, I kind of went through the motions today, I didn't grow, then maybe I'll hang it up. But still, 2 years later, I learn something new every single day. I grow in some capacity every single day. And until that ends, I'm going to keep working here. Some students pay for a master's in business. I'm getting a master's in business and emotional intelligence and all of that. And so that's what Cutco through college means to me, is it can be the perfect supplement to learning the stuff you don't get to learn in your classroom. And so that is what Cutco through college is. I even added a graduation cap because you guys just graduated technically, from your fast start or from your intro to the business. And now I'm challenging everyone here to take that next step. Maybe it's a scholarship. Maybe you step up and be an AM. Maybe you ask your division manager, what would it take for me to be a closing gift consultant? There's so much more to this, everyone. And I encourage everyone to go out there and see what it can be for you, because it has turned into some pretty special things for me. So that's what I got. Thank you all for, coming to my TED Talk. I appreciate it. God bless. Enjoy the rest of the conference. Crush this spring. We'll see you guys on the pan flip.